Hi there. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Taking Care of Tutu podcast. I'm your host. My name's Meg Obanoff. I thought we would get started for the first few episodes just talking about some of the most important documents that people need for estate planning purposes. So I thought we could break those down for a few episodes. And then maybe after that, we'll start having some different guests from the community talking about what's going on where they work and caregiving for elderly people. So the first episode today, we're going to talk about powers of attorney. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard or know what a power of attorney is. What it is it's a document that says who can take care of your finances if you're no longer able to do that yourself. It's probably, in my opinion, the most important document for estate planning that anyone can have. A lot of times people procrastinate or don't want to do one because they feel like, oh, if I make one, then I will become incapacitated. But really, when people don't have them, it's a much more difficult situation. What happens if you don't have a power of attorney? We see it all the time in our office, at least once a month. People are coming in, they bring their spouse, their parent, their grandparent in, and they don't have a power of attorney. And when I start talking to the person, it's really clear that they don't any longer have mental capacity to make their own legal and financial decisions. They're asking the same question over and over. They don't really understand where they are or who I am or what they're here to do. So if they no longer have capacity, it's too late. We can no longer do a power of attorney for them. And so then I have to recommend they do a court case, which is called a conservatorship. In Hawaii, we have it combined, a conservatorship guardianship. You can do both at the same time as one court case. A conservatorship is getting the court to appoint someone who manages your money, and a guardianship is appointing someone who manages the care of your person. So if someone comes in, they want to do a power of attorney, or their spouse or their child wants them to do a power of attorney. If they don't have capacity any longer and they don't have a power of attorney, we have to suggest they file for a conservatorship, guardianship. I'm sure you can understand that that takes a lot longer than a power of attorney. We have to draft paperwork, file at court, and wait for a court hearing. So that's probably 2 months right there to get, even if we have everything and we can turn around the paperwork quickly, we're not going to get a court hearing for probably 8 weeks. And then they have to appear at the court hearing or get their presence waived, and their family member has to appear. Most of us don't want to have a court hearing about whether we have mental capacity. We don't have to want to go to court. Our loved ones don't want to have to go to court, which is public, and talk about our capacity. So all of that can really be avoided by having a power of attorney. That's something that you would do while you're still healthy enough and you have capacity to make that document. You are saying who you want making your financial decisions for you if you're no longer able to make your own financial decisions. So who do you choose for that role? Of course, you want someone who's trustworthy, someone who's responsible, someone who's going to take care of it and not just ignore it until it gets really bad. So this skill set is someone who's good with paperwork, administrative type things, doesn't mind calling 800 numbers if they have to. None of us love to do that, but someone who will do that if that's what needs to be done. So if you have 2 kids and one is really good at that and one is a lovely person, but that's not their strong suit, then you should name the one, even if they're both responsible and trustworthy, you should name the one who's good at administrative type things, because that's who's going to get it done. The other one might just ignore it. You can have 2 kids serve as power of attorney together. You would name them jointly. What's important to know about that is that means they have to make all the decisions together. So if they disagree, then you're going to kind of be at an impasse. So if people want to name 2 people together, I'm always asking, do they get along very, very well? And if they say, oh no, they hate each other, then I would advise that they not name those 2 people as joint powers of attorney. Or sometimes I have a couple where it's a blended family and they want one child from each parent to work together. But if they don't know each other, that's probably not a great idea. Another way you could name people is if you have two people who are great candidates to be your agent, but maybe one's on the mainland and one's here, you could say either of them, this person or that person. And that would mean either of them can sign. Now, you wouldn't do that if you don't trust them to work together. You would do that if you trust them to work together, but just logistically, it might be hard for both of them to sign everything. But you wouldn't do that if you think one of them's going to try to take a bunch of money from the other one. So that wouldn't be a good choice. But you would say either or if you have two great candidates and you're just trying to make it logistically more simple. Sometimes people have 3 kids and they want it to be 3 kids by the majority. That's okay. That's kind of better than 2 kids who have to agree on everything. I would not recommend 3 kids serving unanimously. That just seems like a lot of difficulty to me. So that's who you can choose. Sometimes people have like a very trusted, their best friend for the last 40 years, and they live on the mainland, and they have like a neighbor who lives next door. I would say, even though there's a geographical difficulty, you want the person who is trustworthy, even if they're not here. I do not recommend naming someone that you don't know very well, because we do see a fair amount of elder abuse, financial abuse, and scams. So we really want the person that you choose to be someone that you've known for a long time and that you trust, family or a friend that you've had for a long time, even if they're not located here on Maui. And you can also say who gets to decide if you're incapacitated. So typically, when I review older legal documents, they will usually say, I'm incapacitated when 2 physicians say I'm incapacitated. And you can still have it be that way. Your attorney can spring into it, your power of attorney can spring into effect when 2 physicians say you're incapacitated. I don't love that strategy, especially if your physicians are Kaiser Permanente, because they will not write letters of incapacity. So when we have clients who come to us with a document like that, I don't like having to tell the kids, okay, in addition to caring for your mom and managing her medical appointments and everything, now you have to find 2 outside of the Kaiser network physicians, have them do testing. This is going to be private pay, and have her declared incapacitated. It's expensive. So I don't really feel like people need to say 2 physicians. You're welcome to say that. I think if you really want it to be a physician, you should have it be 1 physician. Certainly if you have Kaiser, you would have to pay privately to have a letter of incapacity done for you or your children, or family members would. So if you're okay with that, then that's okay. A lot of our clients choose to do what's called a private disability panel, which is, hey, when my wife and my 2 kids by the majority say I'm incapacitated, then I'm incapacitated. So you can name 1 person, multiple people, up to you. But that's when those people say you're incapacitated and sign a letter to that effect, that's when your power of attorney will go into effect. The person you name as an agent would take over at that point and would be able to transact business on your behalf at a bank with a mortgage company.